Hey everyone, it's Kathy Koliakovo with socialforbusiness.com coming to you today with a couple tips for your business on how to check and view your website meta tags. I've been discussing SEO and knowing as a business owner what you should know or be aware of when it comes to your website and SEO. And one of the things that we were looking at is actually meta tags and titles, descriptions, and keywords that are usually set up on your website and your website pages when they're created. And today what I'm going to do is show you how to check what they are. So the first one we're going to start off with is the title. And so every page should have a title listed as a descriptive type of thing about what the page is about. It's generally depending on whatever tool you might have in the back end of your website design program or editing program, or what you're going to code it if you're creating a website straight from HTML or other computer language programming codes. You should have this information in the back. And one of the easiest ways to check what you have set up is when you're hovering over in your browsers. You'll see up here on the top left that this is sort of changing when I click on different pages on my website. So for instance, this one shows social media, scroll up here again, social media training for business, strategy, and virtual support. So that's one way to check the page title, but another way is actually to right click on the website anywhere and hit view page source. And this is actually going to take you to all the HTML code or other code that's used to create your website page. And one of the things that you want to look for is the title tag, which is simply usually set in a near the top, and it just says title, and that shows you what's been entered for the title for your page, which you'll notice is the same as what shows up here when I hover at the top with my mouse on that page. So that's how you find the title part of it. Then you might want to also know what your description is. Now, because I use a plugin on my website, generally I will find this up near the top as well. So you can see what I've got here at the top. You'll see another spot, meta description. So this is the next part that we're going to look to find. And the description is something that you need to understand. You can put on every page. And I like to make sure that what we put on the page is actually it's about 160 characters that you have to work with, and that it's sort of a one sentence descriptor of what this website page and content is about. One of the things that you need to understand is that when you're doing a search online through Google, Yahoo, Bing, whatever it might be, one of the things that you have to understand is that this description is what shows up here as the two lines that show in the results on a website search or on a Google search or other type of search engine search that you may be doing out there. So you want to have an effective description in there, because think to how you use an online search. When you're looking at these, most of us will look at these. You'll look at this first one, which is actually the title that's on your page. Then you'll see the link to the page, and then there will be two lines of a description. Most of us look at that and use that as the deciding factor on whether or not you're going to click that link. So you want to have a good description in there. So that's where you want to check. So again, in your source code, you can check and see what's there. So what I have is social media training with a consultant who helps small business owners use Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and blogs to market their business online and increase sales. Those have a lot of my keywords in it. I'm very clear on my keywords, and I know and I understand what I want to have in the setup. So I understand that I have some of my keywords into the description. But it also makes sense as to what this description is for that website page, so that when it does show up in a result, it makes sense and fits. So if people do read it and then they click on it, they understand what they're getting. Now, you can also check with this one and check and see what kind of keywords you have set up in your meta tags. Now, depending on the setup for your website, you may have one main focus keyword or you may have an entire list. My two websites, I actually have different SEO plugins on them, and so they look differently. On my first one, the Social for Business one, in the back end on there, you'll see that there's I only end up putting in one main keyword. So it generally isn't what shows here. But on my Time on Task VA website, when I right click, hit the view page source, and I go look in here, I have a different type of SEO uh, tool that I use on here. So this one I use all in one SEO. I've still got the title, that's up there, and then down a little further I have the description. So again, I've got a description in here that sort of fits my information. And then you can see I have my list of keywords, again in this meta tag. So I've got all these words in here, social media virtual assistant, online marketing. They're my list of keywords, which as I was talking about in the article earlier, in the previous one to this issue and to this update that I did on the second piece of it, the keywords are really important, and you should have a main list of anywhere between 10 and 20 keywords that you always focus on. So these can be put in here as well. You want to include them in the content, but you also want to make sure you have some of them here on your website. So that's how you would go in onto your website pages and check what your tag title, your description, and your keywords are for your meta tags. So it's something I highly recommend that you go in, you check, you see what's there, and if you need to do some updating, you work with your website designer or whoever helps you update the website, whether it's you or someone else. I would recommend that you go in and check them and update them. And then as you add new pages or add new blog posts, because those should go on every blog post as well, make sure that you're including them in there and putting them in as part of the setup that you do on the page. Once you've got all that well into a system, you'll find it's a lot easier when you're adding a new page or a blog post to make sure you add your SEO title, description, and keywords. So that's the Social for Business, social media, and marketing tip for you today. Enjoy, and I hope you can figure out from this how to find your tags and titles on your website. And if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them on my Facebook page. You can find me at facebook.com/timeontaskva. Thanks and have a great day.